Hi, my name is Blair Glenn. I'm an ISA certified arborist and the owner of Saratoga Tree Service. I've been in this business for 35 years and we've done a lot of big removals. When you're dealing with big wood, there's a lot of ways of getting the tree down safely. Principally in the past we've done a lot of roping. But when you have a situation where you can't get a crane in or you can't safely get the pieces down, sometimes you just got to muscle it. Well, I came up with an idea here quite a few years ago, and it's a little bit of a takeoff on what a lot of climbers have done for decades. And when you're taking a piece of wood that's just too big and you're cutting it with a chainsaw, the last thing that happens is that as you're cutting it off, it falls down and pinches the saw. So most climbers take a bunch of sticks and keep them in their pocket, and they'll put the sticks in there as a bridge so they can get the saw blade out easier. Well, we've taken it one step further, and we've taken these 1/4-inch dowels, and we use those as rollers. Because you certainly want to get the tree down in as big a piece as you can that you can comfortably get it out of the yard. Now, obviously, some pieces just need to be dropped carefully onto a pile or a pad, and certain pieces can be managed this way. But when you get down to the big wood, even a piece of firewood length, say 18-20 inches, is going to weigh hundreds of pounds, sometimes 400 or 500 pounds. The water weight is tremendous. Now, if you cut this off the traditional way, just cut it all the way through and put a few little sticks in there, ultimately you end up with a piece of wood that you've got to muscle off of there, and you don't have a whole lot of control with. But if you utilize my technique of taking these dowels, I spray painted them orange, by the way, just because when you drop them off, they're easier to find in the brush because you want to reuse them. You take the saw, you cut about 2/3 of the way through, and you insert a dowel crosswise for the direction that you want it to go. And then when you get near the very end of the cut, you put in the final dowel in the same lineup as the other one, and it zips it off. Because the dowels are thick enough, 1/4-inch, to represent the thickness of the kerf, the chainsaw bar comes out easy. It never pinches. It's important to try to keep your cuts as flat as possible because when you're using dowels, when you cut it off, you don't want gravity to take over. You want to be in control. So you line it up and you decide which way you want it to go, and you put your dowels in accordingly. Here you can see George has got it zipped off, and it's just setting on the dowels now. Because we've got a fence directly underneath it, we went one step further. And George had one of the guys tie a rope around it just to give it a little bit of extra momentum so that it goes a little bit further into the neighboring yard. And as you can see here, just one-handed, he's able to quickly push this piece off, and the rope helps guide it down and keep it in the right pathway and give it a little bit more trajectory. But the dowel technique is just incredible for moving heavy pieces of wood. Now, I've used this same technique for much larger pieces of wood, sometimes 6 or 8 feet long. And I guess your only limitation is if you exceed the capacity of what the dowels are able to hold. They've got to be good hardwood dowels. You don't want to crush them. But I think anything up to a couple thousand pounds is very doable. Yeah, once it's safely on the ground, that's a whole nother story. Then it's up to the ground crew to either cut it up or figure out how to get it out of there on a dolly. Now I challenge you to try this. A lot of tree climbers are pretty stubborn. They've done the same thing for years and years and years. But I tell you, after 35 years of doing this, my back doesn't feel the way it used to. And this technique really works. It's fast, it's simple, it saves you time, saves your back, and it certainly saves you a lot of aggravation. Once again, my name is Blair Glenn. Thanks for taking the time to view this little presentation.